Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you once again for Vitendo for Africa's event. I hope everyone is enjoying their food, and I'll take a minute of your time to talk about Vitendo's impact in my life. Okay. So as I know all of you are gathered here, you know a little bit about Vitendo, or you have probably something familiar with it. If you're not, or if you just want a little reminder, I would like to remind you about their mission. Vitendo states that they're here to welcome, connect, and empower immigrants. And as I can say, as I stand here, Vitendo has done those things and many more to my life. As I moved here in 2014, you can see little Sally over there in the middle. I attended that event. I think I was 2 days here from the US, as people call us, fresh off the boat. And this was their crazy Olympics event. And that's my journey to starting with Vitendo for Africa. This is the first time that I met Jeffrey. And this was the beginning of a long, long story that I'll tell today. So I started volunteering with Vitendo for Africa, as I talked as soon as I started, and one of the big things that I started doing is taking the elderly immigrant parents, which I usually call like my grandmas, to the hospitals, and there we help translate. I help translate Swahili to English. As you know, it can be harder for them since English is not their first language when they're going through these pap smears, mammograms, and everything. So then I help there, so I would go to Slough Hospital, and I'll just help translate language barriers. And another thing that I noticed is, and learned more about the healthcare, is that as Africans, we never typically go visit the doctor, but regular doctor visits. We usually go when the problem is so big. So then here we started advocating to just taking visits to the doctor, so then when you go there, you're not going when the situation is too erratic and cannot be saved. So then I continued with my journey, and I started, another thing was teaching Swahili to kids, and the big goal that we did this for was, as younger kids were born here, it became harder for them to speak with their parents, because as we know, they get very accustomed to American culture, and their parents did not speak their native language to them, so they end up just losing their native languages. So we started teaching Swahili to them, and just with the help of this, it helped a lot of kids be able to speak to their parents, and if it's not to their parents, they were able to speak to their shoshos when they came to visit. Then another big thing that I would say Vitendo highlighted, or this is the best thing that I've done so far with Vitendo for Africa that I always continue to remember, is in 2018 we got to go to a mission trip in Kenya. And with Vitendo for Africa, unlike other mission trips that you take, it's not just about the journey when you get to the mission trip. The big thing is the journey that it takes for you to go to that mission trip. You learn your leadership skills, you learn your financial skills, you learn ways to raise money out of nowhere. I was like, I don't know, I'm not an accountant, I'm not anything, but we were able to work with people, my teams, my peers, to raise money to go to Kenya. And on the top picture over there, you can see we were playing soccer with little kids. And at first, when we got there, they were pretty, not scared, but they were nervous to meeting us as we started speaking English between us, and they thought we didn't come from Kenya or we had just gone in the US for too long. But after a few days, we were able to get accustomed with them and speak with them. And in this mission trip, our biggest goal was to build 2 classrooms. And we built 2 classrooms which ended their primary school era, because they only had class 1 through class 6. So we built class 7 and 8, which in Kenya is the same thing as having grade school. So it meant that their school only went to grade 6. So they were not able to transition to high school. So when we built these classes, 7 and 8, they were able to finish their primary school, and then they could be able to qualify to go into high schools. So we were able to build, classrooms. And it wasn't just like we took the money. You can see us over there doing the labor and work. Maybe we're not contractors, but with the help of them, we were able to do that. We didn't finish the whole class, and we had people helping us. Then another thing that we helped with, like over there, we were helping Max Scatrons, because in this school, as they lack the materials to build classrooms, they also lack the resources to have enough professors or enough teachers to help with that. So they had people taking exams, but they did not enough faculty or enough teachers helping with that. It's usually like community members, like community women, or people who went to high school, like or college students would come back and they would help make their Scantron, so then they're able to like either take their KCP, which is more of an ACT here. It's a test that you take before you transition to high school. So we helped like grade those papers, and here it was just for fun. We were going to fetch water, as I know a lot of people some villages in Africa, usually you don't have water already outside your house or inside your house. You have to take a walk or you have to go and fetch some water. So we used to go down the hill and grab some water over there. And so then that's, as I talked to those three things were about Vitendo welcoming me. And then Vitendo I've just now volunteered from them and given my time to me. Vitendo has given so much back to me. So here you can see me. I'm the girl over there with a little green shirt. I don't know if you can see that. And this one was my first college visit where we got to visit WashU. I think I was maybe in 8th grade. I did not know too much about high school because I just came. I came here in 2014, which was 8th grade. Then I had only like a year to transition to high school. But with the help of Vitendo for Africa, as we know, they continue to take high school students to visit colleges. So then we were able to transition to a college career. So here we're visiting WashU, and here was the place I got to learn about scholarships. I got to learn about how to apply to schools and even to know what schools to look for, because I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for to, I didn't even know what an ACT was. So like going to high school, then I wasn't so blindsided. Vitendo had already started introducing these things to me. So, and as I just talked about scholarships, so with the help of Vitendo for Africa, as I have done all this community work, all this volunteering, it's been very impactful, and I was able to earn several scholarships. This was a big one. I chose this picture because this was the Missouri Community Service Award, which a lot of people now in Vitendo have been getting. And me and Dennis over there, we got it, I think this was maybe 2019. And we were able to be awarded. Yeah, so we're able to be awarded for having high quality community service, but also having like excellent community service where you can be able to show the change that you have made and all the impact that you've made in your community. So then as I continue, Vitendo has not only helped me academically, it has helped me transition in my city. So I live in Forreston, that's where I've lived since, I've lived in between Hazelwood and Forreston. And Vitendo introduced me to Valley of Flowers. That's something, even though I had lived in Forreston before I joined this, maybe for 4 years, I never heard of Valley of Flowers. But then Jeffrey came to me and was like, would you like to represent our city? And you can't say no to Jeffrey when he says. So then here I was able to participate in Valley of Flowers, where I think that year we had 25 people contesting for this spot, and they only chose 5 people, and I was among of the 5 who were selected. Yeah. Then with that, as the picture ended, so we got to do that for a whole year, and I just got to learn more, meet the mayor of Forreston, just get more acquainted with the city of Forreston, and just even gain a lot of networking skills. That's something I know definitely I would have not done without the help of Vitendo for Africa. So then with the third thing in Vitendo's mission, we know that Vitendo is here to empower. With the help of Vitendo, I've been able to learn my public speaking. Jeffrey saw something in me that I did not see from the beginning. He would tell me, oh, let's speak on this role, and I'm still shy of speaking to people at the front, but he saw this in me, even as I said, before I could see it in myself. He gave me the platform to work on these skills, platform to public speak, platform to even create your own organization. With Vitendo for Africa, Jeffrey doesn't show you what to do. He gives you that opportunity to figure out what you're able to bring to this community. So it's one of the things I feel like it lacks in a lot of other places or other organizations where you're not given the platform to figure out what you can do and what skills that you can bring here. But with Vitendo, it's always an open platform. Even as I talked about before previously in the mission trip, Jeffrey doesn't tell us, oh, you should do this, this, and this to get to this goal. You come with a plan and you tell him, we want to do a mission trip. This is how much money we'll raise. These are the ways that we'll raise this. So he's building leaders from the beginning. So then as I continue to talk about empowerment, Jeffrey has also given me a platform to also speak about my voices. So here we were protesting in the city when we were talking about Black Lives Matter, and also when we were talking about immigration. So we got to go to the city and we got to join parades together with an organization, and we also got to combine ourselves with other organizations in the city. And we were able to tell the city to hear our voice.